Ladies and gentlemen, gather round. You've heard the myth, right? Japanese is the hardest language in the world. Jesuit missionaries in the 16th century supposedly said it, and ever since, Japanese people have been clinging to that compliment like it's a Nobel Prize. But let's get real. Japanese? Hardest language? Please. That's like saying instant ramen is haute cuisine. Yes, the writing system is a headache. 3 scripts, kanji that looks like someone sneezed on a piece of paper. Fine. But the actual spoken language, it's basically easy mode. No tones like Chinese, no grammatical gender like French or German, no 27 cases like Hungarian. Honestly, Japanese grammar is so polite it practically apologizes to you. So why the myth? Because the Japanese love to say, oh, our language is too mysterious. Foreigners can never learn it. It's national gaslighting. Meanwhile, Southeast Asia is laughing because Japanese is basically the cousin of Malay. Simple, flat, and predictable. You want a challenge? Try Cantonese, where one wrong tone turns I love you into I want to roast your grandma. That's a language that can kill you socially. Japanese, it's child's play, with messy handwriting. Stay with me, because in this video we're about to destroy the myth of hardest language ever. And trust me, by the end, you'll see why Japanese is the IKEA manual of languages. Annoying to look at, but the actual assembly? Stupidly simple. Let's rewind to the 16th century. Jesuit missionaries, those globe-trotting Catholic influencers before Instagram was a thing, landed in Japan. They took one look at kanji, got migraines, and declared, Japanese must be the hardest language on earth. And just like that, the myth was born. But hold on, let's be clear. These were Europeans who thought Latin was the universal default, who fainted at the sight of chopsticks. They weren't exactly the most reliable Yelp reviewers of foreign cultures. Imagine trying to learn Japanese back then. No textbooks, no Duolingo owl threatening you at 10 p.m., and kanji dictionaries that made IKEA furniture instructions look like a coloring book. Of course, they thought it was hard. And here's the kicker. The Japanese loved it. Suddenly their language wasn't just words and grammar, it was an exotic fortress, a cultural do not enter sign. Oh, Father Valignano says our language is impossible. Splendid! That means we're special, mysterious, superior. Japan basically turned a foreign priest's headache into a national branding strategy. Talk about PR judo. Fast forward 500 years and people are still repeating this nonsense. You'll hear Japanese folks say, our language is too subtle. Foreigners cannot understand the heart of it. Excuse me? Subtle? You have one word, Samui, and it means cold. There's no deep poetry there, darling. Just put on a sweater. The reality is this. Japanese is difficult on the eyes, yes. Kanji is a cruel joke imported from China. Hiragana looks like worms doing yoga. And katakana is just hiragana's blocky cousin who failed art school. But the spoken structure? Easy. Subject, object, verb. No tones, no genders, no complicated verb conjugations beyond polite or casual. If Latin is a Shakespearean opera, Japanese is the nursery rhyme. So why does the myth persist? Because it flatters both sides. Foreigners feel heroic for studying it. Japanese people feel mystical for speaking it. It's like a toxic relationship that just works. So here's the big secret. Japanese isn't difficult. It's just overhyped. Imagine a plain bowl of rice pretending to be a Michelin star meal. That's Japanese as a language. First of all, pronunciation. You know how Japanese people complain, oh, English is so hard to pronounce. Newsflash, their own language is child-level phonics. 5 vowels. That's it. A, I, U, E, O. Like a preschool singing exercise. If you can survive kindergarten in any country, you can pronounce Japanese. Compare that to Cantonese, where if your tone is off by a mosquito's wing, you're either confessing your love or insulting someone's ancestors. In Japan, you just say Miko and congratulations. You've mastered cat. Where's the difficulty? Second, grammar. Let's stop pretending it's some mysterious samurai code. Japanese grammar is basically Legos. Subject, object, verb. Done. There are polite forms, yes, but once you learn that masu means I'm pretending to be polite, you're good. Meanwhile, in Russian, verbs change more often than Japanese prime ministers. In German, you need an engineering degree just to survive the cases. Japanese, just tack on desu at the end and suddenly you're fluent. Third, vocabulary. The Japanese brag about their kanji like it's some intellectual Everest. In reality, they borrowed it from China and then butchered the readings until even they can't agree how to pronounce their own names. That's not difficulty, that's national scale laziness. How many times have you seen Japanese people whisper, I know, how do you read this kanji again? Yeah, even they don't know their own language. But foreigners are supposed to treat it like sacred scripture. Please, here's the truth. The only hard part of Japanese is writing it. But writing isn't the language. It's just cultural calligraphy cosplay. Spoken Japanese is so simple it could be taught to a goldfish in 3 lessons. And yet, Japan clings to the idea that their language is an impregnable fortress. Why? Because it makes them feel unique. It's like putting a members-only jacket on a toddler. Cute, but nobody's impressed. Let's be honest. If Japanese is a kiddie pool, then Cantonese is the Mariana Trench. Japanese people brag, our language is so deep, so untranslatable. Deep? Please. Cantonese has 9 tones. 9. That means one word can mean mother, horse, or to scold, depending on the tone. Mix it up and you're basically screaming, I love you, mom, now shut up, horse. That's linguistic parkour. Now take Korean. Oh, Japan loves to roll their eyes at Korea, but let me tell you, Korean grammar is a beast. Honorifics are so detailed you need a flowchart just to say hello without accidentally insulting someone's grandmother. And the verb endings, they're like Pokemon evolutions. Just when you think you've caught one, boom, there's another level. Compared to that, Japanese grammar is Fisher-Price, my first sentences trademark. And Russian, oh boy. Russian verbs don't just conjugate, they mutate like radioactive monsters. You've got perfective, imperfective, and cases so complicated they make your head spin. Even saying something as simple as, I went to the store, requires you to know the exact time, place, intention, and maybe your horoscope sign. Japanese? Just say mise ni ikimashita. Done. A toddler could manage it. So let's stop pretending. Japanese is not Everest. It's a gentle hiking trail with some annoying mosquitoes called kanji. But Japanese people love to inflate it because it gives them this aura of mystique. Oh, our language cannot be translated. It carries the soul of Japan. Excuse me? The soul of Japan is konbini fried chicken and convenience store toilets. Let's not romanticize this. If difficulty is the measuring stick, Japanese isn't standing next to giants like Cantonese or Russian. It's sitting in the kiddie corner eating pocky and acting superior because the packaging looks complicated. Ah yes, the famous claim. The Japanese have the second highest IQ in the world, 109. You hear this nonsense tossed around on the internet like it's gospel. But if the IQ is really that high, then why is English ability in Japan somewhere between tragic karaoke and Google Translate in meltdown mode? Let's face it, the hardest language myth and the IQ 109 myth are like twin siblings in the Japanese ego family. One says, our language is too hard for you. The other says, we're too smart anyway. Put them together and you get the ultimate excuse. Why should we study English? We're already geniuses speaking the hardest language. Meanwhile, reality is a punchline. Step into any Japanese university English conversation class, and it's basically a support group for people traumatized by the verb to be. These so-called high IQ students can memorize thousands of kanji strokes, but collapse when asked, how are you today? And don't get me started on the TOEFL scores. Japan consistently ranks behind countries like Malaysia and the Philippines. So much for genius. Here's the dirty secret. Japanese people don't learn foreign languages because they don't want to. The hardest language myth acts like a cultural invisibility cloak. See, we're special snowflakes. Our brains are too busy processing our superior tongue. But in truth, Japanese is structurally so simple that if the average Japanese person actually put in effort, they'd be fluent in English, Chinese, or Spanish within a few years. But no, better to wave around IQ scores and complain about how our unique culture cannot be translated. And that IQ 109? Please, If IQ really translated to global performance, Japan would be running Silicon Valley, not begging for tourists to keep their economy alive. China's AI, Korea's EVs, Singapore's English fluency, all of them are sprinting ahead while Japan is still patting itself on the back for hiragana homework. So no, Japan isn't the land of 109 geniuses speaking the hardest code on earth. It's the land of excuses, where average language ability is saved by karaoke subtitles. Step outside Japan for 5 minutes and you'll realize just how absurd the hardest language excuse really is. Let's take Singapore. Tiny city-state, barely a dot on the map, but the average taxi driver there can switch between English, Mandarin, Malay, and Tamil faster than a Japanese salaryman can order his morning coffee. 4 languages, no drama. Meanwhile, Japan is still sweating over R and L. Or look at the Philippines. Call center agents there handle American accents, British accents, Australian slang, while sipping iced coffee and scrolling TikTok. Did they cry about, oh, our language is too unique, we can't possibly learn yours? No, they just did it. Because survival? Europe? Don't even get me started. A Dutch teenager speaks English better than most Japanese English teachers. Germans? Fluent in English and sometimes French too. Even Czechs with their tongue-twisting grammar will casually chat with you in English at a bar. And Japan? You're lucky if someone manages, this is a pen, without breaking into a national apology. But here's the kicker. Japan chooses this. The myth of hardest language in the world is their security blanket. Why bother opening up to the world when you can sit back, claim foreigners will never understand us, and keep everyone locked in the island bubble? It's national self-isolation disguised as intellectual pride. And yet the consequences are brutal. Japan's economy is stagnating. Foreign companies hesitate to invest. Tourists complain they can't even ask where the toilet is. But instead of changing, Japan doubles down. Don't worry, our IQ is 109 and our language is impossible. Sure, and my cat is secretly Einstein. The world has moved on. Multilingualism is the norm. But Japan, it's still hiding behind excuses, humming karaoke lyrics in katakana English, wondering why nobody takes them seriously. Spoiler, it's not because Japanese is hard, it's because Japan is too stubborn to admit it's easy. Here's the grand finale of Japan's self-mythology. We are the most diligent people in the world. You've heard it, right? The endless bragging about how Japanese workers sacrifice everything, how students study harder than anyone else. It's the national bedtime story, but when you scratch the surface, it's as hollow as an empty sake bottle. Let's start with the workplace. Yes, Japanese employees sit in the office for 12 hours, but half that time is spent pretending to be busy, shuffling papers, stamping documents, holding meetings about meetings. It's theater, not productivity. Meanwhile, Koreans and Chinese are cranking out global tech giants, and Japanese companies are still faxing each other like it's 1992. Students, same deal. They spend years in Juku cram school memorizing answers for standardized tests, but ask them to speak a sentence of real English and it's game over. That's not diligence, it's academic cosplay. If Japan were really the most hardworking nation, its innovation wouldn't have flatlined after the Walkman. And here's where the language myth ties in. Japanese people love to say, we don't speak English because we're too busy working. No, darling, you don't speak English because you're lazy. Lazy in the one way that matters, the courage to actually challenge yourself. Sitting at a desk for 12 hours doesn't make you diligent. It makes you furniture. Globally, Japan looks less like the most diligent nation and more like one of the laziest. Not physically, of course, they show up, but mentally, intellectually, spiritually. They cling to excuses like our language is too hard and our IQ is 109, instead of actually doing the work that other nations, poorer and smaller, do every day. So let's be brutally clear. Japanese is not the hardest language. Japan is not the most diligent nation. It's a carefully packaged myth, sold to both themselves and the world. Underneath, it's excuses, stagnation, and karaoke-level English. So let's wrap this up. The Jesuits were wrong. Japanese is not the hardest language in the world. It's not even in the top 10. It's a simple, functional system wearing a scary kanji mask. The myth survived because Japan clung to it, inflating their ego while dodging responsibility for their own laziness. They claim IQ 109, yet struggle to order coffee in English abroad. They claim to be the world's most diligent workers, yet their productivity ranks among the lowest in the developed world. They brag about unique culture, but half of their kanji readings confuse even themselves. Hardest language, most diligent nation, try world champions of excuses. Meanwhile, Singapore, the Philippines, Europe, heck, even Mongolia, are outpacing Japan in multilingualism and adaptability. The world is sprinting, and Japan is still stretching at the starting line, saying, "Sorry, our language is too mysterious, please understand." The truth is simple. Japanese isn't Everest. It's a molehill with bad handwriting. And Japan isn't the most diligent nation. It's the laziest nation hiding behind the longest list of excuses. That's the punchline. So next time someone repeats the myth, just smile and say, "Japanese? Hard, please. Try Cantonese if you want to suffer," and watch their face melt. But hey, don't take my word for it. What do you think? Is Japanese really as mystical as the propaganda claims, or is it just an easy language wrapped in national insecurity? Drop your thoughts below. And if you laughed, got mad, or just learned something, smash that like button, subscribe, and share this with a friend who still believes this is a pen is advanced English. Because here, we don't buy myths, we roast them. Mic dropped.